Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Anime Convention Beginner's Guide, and today we're going to talk about convention staff. Convention staff is a combination of paid workers and volunteers that just, run the whole thing. Anywhere from processing payments and organizing events to security and badging at doors and stuff. A lot of time you can volunteer your services for a few hours during the weekend to get some free stuff from like the dealer's hall. Usually it involves like con-specific merchandise, like t-shirts, hats, trinkets and stuff with that convention's logo on them. Sometimes they do like regular dealer's room money, or however you want to look at it, coupons. But the con staff in general is, most of the time they've been doing it for a long time, so they know what they're doing. A lot of times the problem you run into is with volunteers and some of the staff, like the hired, the paid staff members, get this problem too. When you put that vest on that says you're in charge of something, you get a big head and you just forget that you're dealing with normal people. Not everybody is this way, but a lot of times convention staff will get a bad rap because of the people that put that vest on and they immediately start barking orders and pushing people around and thinking that it's their way or the highway. That's not how it is. There are rules that the convention staff as well as the attendees have to follow. Just because you put the vest on doesn't mean you can make rules as you go. Granted, there are a lot of regular con-goers that give con staff a hard time just because of problems they've had in the past with them. Or maybe it's just, maybe the con-goer is just immature to begin with, then, that'll happen too. But you're going to find out that certain people, there are some really good staff members out there, con staff and volunteers. They're really good volunteers. I wish I could say that they all are really good, but really, the bunch of people, I know a lot of good, nice, professional staff people and volunteers at conventions. So don't get me wrong. But the problem is the percentage from each convention that I go to is, the percentage of people that you even want to deal with is so small that it can be scary if you're going back to a convention, especially one that you had visited in previous years, because you're going to experience things that, the con staff is there to help you. The problem is people, some of them aren't trained really well. Some of them are just kind of given a vest and told to go do such and such, and then they're just cut loose on the general public with this kind of plastic tin badge that means nothing, really, but they think that they can use it as a license to kill, so to speak. Okay, I'm not ripping on all con staff. I'm just saying what to expect at conventions, okay? I'll use a few examples here, just so you're aware of what can happen. Don't get blindsided by it. If you have any real problems with any of the staff members, maybe ask to speak to somebody that's in charge. Don't go out gung-ho trying to get them in trouble or anything for something they said. But if it's something serious, you're going to want to communicate that so it stops. Just be diplomatic about the whole thing. Don't go shooting from the hip and say, "Oh, that person told me to move out of the hallway, so that person just being mean." Well, try to take what they say with a grain of salt, because you're going to get a lot of it where they're walking the halls, they're policing people, they put up with a lot of crap. Really, it's hard to tell how much they've gone through before you meet up with them, but at the same, that doesn't make it any easier to deal with, really. Just take it in stride. If they go out of their way to try to make your life a living hell, then, again, take a diplomatic approach to it. Speak to somebody that's above them in the food chain, and just explain, hey, this is what's going on. We don't need any more people running around saying, rah, rah, Constaff, rah, rah, rah. Okay? As much as I'd love to go off on a rant about the stuff that I've been through with Constaff. Like I said, I know a lot of good Constaff, and I don't want them to get the wrong idea. The problem being a few bad apples ruin it for everybody, and it's hard to ignore the problems. I'm repeating myself, I think, so I'm just going to give you a few examples of some stuff that I've been through with Constaff. Okay, I'm going to start out by saying I'm not going to bring up any specific convention names, or people's names for that matter, in my examples. I'm just giving you examples so you know what to expect. I'm not trying to throw anybody in front of the bus here. I'm not trying to make anybody sound worse than others. I'm just giving you information to work with. Okay? At a convention my siblings and I had attended, it was myself and my two brothers and my younger sister. My brothers and I were dressed up, and we had badges. Well, my sister did not have a badge. We were all staying in the same hotel. We're staying in the Con Hotel, and, you know, my sister isn't into anime, and she just kind of wanted to walk around with us, okay? She didn't have a badge. She was carrying basically just our Fix-It kit, okay? We were stopped by one lady that saw that my sister didn't have a badge, and the first run-in with her was, it was kind of snarky, but it wasn't too bad. It was, you can't be here if you don't have a badge, and I explained to her that we were staying in the hotel, we were guests at the hotel. My sister is not getting into, or trying to get into, any of the panels. She's not trying to do any of the convention stuff. She just doesn't want to sit alone in the room while we walk all over all day long. Okay? She was just carrying our Fix-It kit. And honestly, I don't think she was having fun anyway. I mean, okay. Before I go further with this story, let me explain. The reason for the badge in the first place is twofold. One, to prove that you paid to be at the convention, and two, to keep the fire code in check. I mean, the fire code limits in check for the hotel. Hotels have a certain amount of people that are allowed to be in the building at any one time. Otherwise, they can get fined from the fire marshal, or however. It can be a safety hazard, is the problem. Anyway, the lady that had stopped us and talked to my sister explained to us that she couldn't be there. She told my sister that she was not allowed to be at the hotel. We're paying guests of the hotel. You have no right whatsoever to tell me that I can't be there. Okay? Or she can't be there. No right whatsoever. You are not hotel staff. You are convention staff. It is your job to make sure that people have badges when they go into convention functions, not walking the halls. If you have an area that is convention attendees only, then you can badge them at the entrance and make sure nobody gets in there. Okay? When a hotel is hosting a convention, it does not mean that the only people staying at that hotel are attending the convention. This is something that I've run into a few times myself, and I've heard other people run into this problem. And this just something to keep in mind. You know, you don't want to flip out on the con staff. Simply inform them that you're staying at the hotel, and you know, that's all you really can do is tell them that you're not doing anything that you're not supposed to be doing. Tell them you're not trying to get into the convention functions or whatever. I would suggest not taking pictures or anything either, because that's, you know, they could probably see that as part of the convention and you're not paying to be there. Later on, the same day, it was probably 6 hours later, this lady walked up to us again and actually told my sister that she didn't want her to get in trouble, so she was going to have to ask her to leave. The lady was asking my sister to leave the building because the lady did not want my sister to get in trouble. Okay? And this time she was more aggressive, just plain snotty, and I wasn't putting up with it. I told the lady what was what. I told her that we are paying guests at the hotel, and I will not stand for her stuff. I will not put up with this. I told her that if she continues to harass us, I will talk to the hotel manager, and I will have him put you in your place. That's all there is to it. Okay? If your convention happens to have exclusive rights to the hotel for that weekend or whatever, only people at the convention can be in the hotel, then fine. That's completely different. Have badgers at your door to keep people that aren't registered out. Okay? Just, it's common sense. Okay? You can't walk the halls and then pick and choose who you talk to about convention rules. You can't enforce badging at random. If somebody's paying to stay at a hotel, they have to at least be allowed to be in the hallways, because that's how you get to the room. Okay? If you're having problems with this, if ConStaff is telling you that you can't be there or in any specific section of the building, I encourage you to contact hotel staff just to be clear about it. And maybe they're right, maybe ConStaff is right that you can't be there, but don't take their word for it necessarily. You know, if obviously maybe you just don't want trouble and you just want to listen. That's fine. Do what you want to. But if you genuinely feel that you're being wronged, don't freak out. Don't come unglued on the ConStaffer, because it could very well be that either they are right or they are grossly misinformed. And either one of those, you have to research it. Talk to hotel staff. Maybe not just any hotel staff. Maybe you do have to go down to the desk and maybe talk to a manager. But approach it diplomatically. We didn't have any trouble from her from then on, luckily. And she was the only one that talked to us about it. So, I think that would be an example of maybe somebody that's not informed as to the way the convention goes or is being run. Because there are a lot of staffers at conventions, and for that one person to stop us twice because of the same issue and nobody else to say anything about it, just raises a red flag. Another problem we ran into at a convention was during the signing in process. Basically, you wait in line until you get up there and you find your name and you sign it, and then they give you your badge. I was there with my brothers, and one of my brothers has ADHD and oppositional disorder. He's quick to anger. It's not his fault, but he's quick to anger, and sometimes it can get kind of scary. You just have to kind of be aware of it. It takes a lot of kind of coaching, constant supervision, really, especially in crowds, because you don't want trouble, and you know. Anyway, it came time for him to sign his name in the book. When he wrote his name, he printed it. He didn't write it out in cursive or whatever, which is fine. You know, that's your mark. That's the deal. The guy supervising, I guess, is what his position was, supervising the signing in process, not only told him that was wrong, but he got all big and bellowy and just, "That is not a signature! That is a printed name!" You have no idea. Dude, if you know who you are, you have no idea how well I kept that under wraps, or what you were getting into. You have no idea. Okay? I calmed him down like that, because I needed to. If I hadn't, he would have caused a scene, and it wouldn't have been his fault at all. My brother was at no fault. Okay? He's got a disability. Alright? You cannot treat somebody in that manner and not expect a reaction. You can't expect anybody to not respond to that. He honestly thought that because my brother printed his name, that it was not good enough as a signature. Okay, we're talking about a 12-year-old kid here. Alright? First of all, let me explain to you a little bit how a signature works. Your signature is your mark. It is not defined as your scripted name in cursive. That is not the definition. A signature is your mark. Okay, you can go down to the DMV and have your official signature on your driver's license changed to a smiley face. And from then on, that is your official signature. It is legal. Some people can't read and write. Okay? That's just how it is. Some people use a thumbprint. Some people sign with an X. However you make your mark is your mark. Nobody can tell you how to do that. Okay? This guy was way off base when he did this. Now, you might not think it's a big deal. The guy's just saying, or just making fun of him, or not even making fun of him. Maybe this guy is just trying to make light of it or whatever. Well, you can't do that. You don't know the person you're talking to. You have no idea how they're going to react. Just don't do that kind of crap, you know? We're there to have fun. Okay, don't nitpick people. That's all there is to it. This next example I touched on a little bit in a previous video. When I was showing you the props and costume pieces, my Balthier gun. When you go to a convention, there are certain rules and regulations regarding your props and weapons. You can look at the website to see exactly what they are, or however, and see what you need to do. Okay. This convention that I went to, I had the Balthier gun, and I had taped off the tip of it, because that's what it said to do on the website. It said, use orange tape of some kind, an orange tip on the weapon, on the gun. I did that. That was the only restriction that pertained to my gun. The only restriction. Okay, I'm walking around with it, well, all of Friday, and it was Saturday morning, I believe it was, and I was taking an elevator. This con staffer walks up to me and says, "Can I see your gun?" I didn't even know she was con staff. She just asked me, "Oh, I can see your gun?" Okay. She seemed interested. I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Yeah, cool. And I immediately explained that it's a vacuum suction nozzle dealy and duct tape, plastic hangers, whatever. I'm all proud of it and stuff, being like, yeah, I assembled all this junk into a gun. Isn't it cool? But she wasn't listening to me. She was reaching into her pocket, putting a zip tie on it. And she's like, there, gotcha. Okay. Let me just say that I can respect the whole peace bonding thing, peace binding, however you want to say it, as a regulation. That's fine. That's fine. And usually they will tell you, I'm going to go out of my way and say every other convention that I have been to or heard of has got this rule on their website, in their rules, about the weapons and props. Most of the time, they will have you stop by a certain desk to get peace bonded. Okay? I have no problem with that. That's fine. I encourage it. That way the staffers can see that it is not an actual gun, it is not an actual weapon, it is not dangerous. Alright? That's fine. But if you don't put that in your rules, or at the very least tell us where to go to have weapons inspected, which this website had done neither of, you can't walk up to me at random and act like I'm breaking a rule, or act like I'm sneaking around, trying to get around your rules, and tag my stuff. No! If you want to implement a rule, you have to make it clear to everybody. Okay? And you know, if it's a deal where it wasn't thought of before the convention, make sure you tell everybody when they're picking up their badge what it is. Okay? It doesn't matter if they're holding a prop at the time or not. Have a printout or have a little mini speech or something that everybody that picks up a badge has to hear. Okay? Don't pull this, oh, well, I caught you. You're trying to break the rules, so shows you. I'm trying to break no rules. What's wrong with you? The most common thing you'll run into from con staff is, and it can be really frustrating, but just understand that they're doing their job and they have to keep things going. If somebody stops you in the hallway to take your picture or whatever, a lot of times the con staff will come up to you and say, you know, get to the side or whatever. You can't take pictures in the hall, okay? Which is you know, it's usually the rule to do that. Sometimes you're going to get the con staffer that just kind of barrels his way through, his or her way through, and says, "You guys can't stand here. God, keep it moving. Come on, just." You guys can't listen to anything. Just move on. Come on, get out of the hall. You gotta keep it moving. You gotta get out of the way. People are trying to walk here. Yeah, just try not to respond to that. I mean, obviously, just listen to them, just brush it off, and go about your day, because it's gonna happen a few times. Just don't make a big deal out of it. Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you like what you saw, subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I'll address them in future episodes. And like I said, you know, if you have a story about con staff or whatever, go to OrBad, post it below, and I'll talk about it a little bit, and we can bounce ideas back and forth and try to make our coexistence with con staff a little nicer. You know, they are there for a reason. They're not all bad. I'm not ripping on them. I'm just telling people what to expect, okay? Other than that, well, till the next time, brain stopped. Yeah. Remember, only you can prevent con drama.